Hey, what's up guys? It's Michael from the Cubers Live team, and we're about to host segment 2 of the Twisty Puzzle Cup, Clash of the Titans. We're going to go ahead and show you the tutorials for how to scramble 3, 4, 5 in Skewb.
Alright, so let's get started. We'll go ahead and start with the end by ends first and leave Skewb for last. Starting off with the 3x3, we're going to go over the notation real quick, and it's also going to apply for the most part to 4x4 and 5x5, as well as Skewb later on. So first off, we have our U layer, our D layer, our F layer, our B layer, our L layer, and our R layer. They can also be divided into a U and a U prime. So basically a U is going to be clockwise 90 degrees and U prime is going to be counterclockwise 90 degrees. And we can also have a U2, which is going to be, as you guessed it, a U layer turned 180 degrees, and that's going to be considered one move. And then all of those primes, the U2, the 2s, can be applied to all of the sides, basically. So this is what an L prime looks like. Now we're going to go ahead and start scrambling the 3x3. The main WCA regulation that most people need to know, and some people don't know, is the orientation that you start your scramble from. So for 3x3, you're going to go ahead and put your white on top and then your green in front. If you don't have white, use your lightest color to put on top. And if you don't have green, use your darkest adjacent to put on front. Now that we have the scramble orientation correct, we're going to go ahead and apply the moves given from the scramble. So it's going to be D2, R2, B2, D, F2, D prime, B2, F2, U prime, R2, U prime, L prime, D, L, F, R, B prime, L prime, D prime, F prime, D2. After you're done scrambling your puzzle, just make sure to check each side to make sure that they match up with the scramble image provided at the website. Once you've confirmed that your scramble is in fact correct, go ahead and place your cube under your cover and you can go ahead and start your solve. In the case where you mis-scramble, and say for example you could be mis-scrambled by one single move, go ahead and hand scramble your puzzle. Do not start your solve, and then put it back into the solved state. After your cube is back in the solved state, go ahead and apply the scramble again, and hopefully you can get it right this time, and then you can start your solve. Okay, so next I'm going to show you how to scramble 4x4. For 4x4, the notation is pretty much the same as 3x3, except we introduce wide moves. And wide moves are going to be capital R, capital L, and then next to it is going to be a lowercase w, which indicates wide. So for example, this is going to be an R wide move. And if you see an R wide prime, it's going to be this. Now with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and apply the scramble to the puzzle, and then you can see how I scramble it, and then of course we're going to match it up at the very end. And of course we got to match up the orientation, so white on top, green on front, and then we're going to start scrambling. Now that the scramble is complete, we're just going to go ahead and, just like 3x3, match up the scramble to the scramble images provided. Okay, so 5x5 is the highest order puzzle in the WCA that requires the scramble to be absolutely correct without any sort of gray area. So it's really important that the 5x5 is scrambled correctly. However, it is also one of the hardest puzzles to scramble accurately because the layers are so small and you can do a misturn very easily. However, with with the introduction to 4x4, there is no new notation involved with 5x5, so all the notation is the same. You just need to make sure your scramble orientation is correct and you apply the scramble correctly. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and just like 3x3 and 4x4, match it up to the scramble image. Alright, and last but certainly not least is going to be Skewb. Now Skewb is slightly different since it's a skewed cube, but most of the knowledge that you've learned already should in some capacity apply to Skewb. So Skewb is going to be just a little bit different here. So what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to have your scramble orientation with white on top and then green on your front left. So that's where your two faces are going to be, and you're going to be looking at this corner right here. Now again, if for some reason you have your own color scheme or something like that, use your lightest face on top if you don't have white, and your darkest adjacent on front left if you don't have green. Now for Skewb, there's not as many moves to apply in scrambles. Really, you're only going to be using L moves, R moves, U moves, and B moves. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and apply the moves to the Skewb. And just like before, we're going to go ahead and match the scramble to the scramble image with each face.
With this newfound knowledge that you guys now have, along with how to do the video evidence in our previous video, we hope that every competitor will have a much better, much more profound and cohesive experience with the Twisty Puzzle Cup in Segment 2, Clash of the Titans. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial on how to scramble your puzzles.